Good evening and welcome to the August 13th meeting of the Board of Selectmen. If everybody would rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening and welcome to those that are with us tonight and that have tuned in either on cable or streaming. With no public hearings this evening, any announcements that anybody would like to make? I don't have anything, additions or deletions to the agenda.
Not for me.
We have no appointments. Public comment. I think everybody's here is either on a committee or works with it now. So we'll move on. Correspondence, treasurer's reports, and the motor vehicle excise reports are available. If someone would like a copy, please give us a call. Selectmen's reports, moving right along tonight. I'll start down at that end of the table. Dwayne, here.
Several phone calls on the cut pavement.
Yeah, we're going to cover that. We're going to cover that. We have that.
Other than that,
We're going to have that discussion on new business item G.
but that's my communications that
Just
I've had.
your story and you're sticking to it. Tim, anything?
Yes, and now that the Community Center Steering Committee has been funded, we're looking to expand, possibly form a couple of subcommittees. One of them to deal with fundraising and one with the actual building itself. So we're inviting new members, anyone that's interested in either one of those disciplines. You can just contact Town Hall, fill out an application online, and you can join that committee.
Okay. All right. Tim, anything?
No, not tonight.
And I really don't have anything. So we'll jump to Gary's report.
I don't even have time to walk around. I'm up.
I don't either.
Pass that over to Tammy, please, Charlie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, let's talk about some HR issues here. We now have 3 positions to fill. And to let the public know, all the staff knows now, Tammy Bellman, we're losing Tammy Bellman to Alfred. She's going to be the next town manager over there. They call it administrative assistant to the Board of Selectmen. Kind of one and the same. Her last day of work, unfortunately for us, will be August 30. We wish her well in her new endeavor, and we're going to miss her work here in the code office. We are going to be really stepping up the pace of the advertising for that. The ad will say applications or interviews may happen immediately as soon as applications are received. I'd like to have at least a commitment by August 30, if not somebody in here. So we're going to work very hard to fill that position as soon as possible. The Public Works Transfer Station position applications closed on the 12th. We had 4 applications. Low numbers are because somebody needed the CDL, A or B. Interviews will hopefully be next week, and we'll interview, I think, at least 3 of the 4. The Recreation Assistant position applications closed on the 2nd. We had 13 of them, and we've initially scheduled 4 people to be interviewed this Friday. In terms of equipment updates, the new trash truck looks great, but unfortunately it has some hydraulic challenges right now, and it's back at Peterbilt for what we will assume it to be a no-charge warranty repair on the hydraulics. It worked for a few runs, but then broke down. Our ladder truck, our 25-year-old ladder truck that we're going to have to talk about probably in the next 2 years about replacing, needed some additional major work. There was coolant in the crankcase. This was discovered what would be months ago now, I guess. It could have been a $30,000 repair. Thankfully, it was only $10,000. And we also had to replace 8 out of the 12 wheel rims, which had rusted out. And that's been done at Central, and I think the ladder truck will be back here certainly by the end of the week at the latest. It's at Central Tire now. The new crew cab Pickup truck from the fire department's been in service, and that's working just fine. It hasn't broken down at all yet, so we're thankful on that. It holds 5 people, if you haven't seen it. There's some equipment in the back for accident scenes as well as brush fires. And the old pickup is at the garage having some body work done for the rust, and 3 out of the 4 chassis mounts, I guess, were rusted out. So we're going to put that into service here in Town Hall and get rid of the old cruiser for the code car, because the old cruiser has structural rust and will not pass another inspection. Last week I took 3 days off when all this stuff broke down, and I was up at Sugarloaf for the annual Town and City Managers Conference, which was, as usual, well run. I was pleasantly surprised to see only 15 towns had opted in to marijuana retail sales. I thought there'd be a larger number. I think people are being smart like Waterboro did. I'm very proud that we did what we did, at least for now, to see what happens. And there was a very impressive story from Falmouth, with the Falmouth PD and Greater Portland Council of Governments doing a very strong opioid outreach startup program in Falmouth. An update from MMA with Kate Dufour on the end of the legislative session, especially the revenue sharing increases. That's very successful, and the time that myself and many, many other people went up to Augusta to testify certainly helped on that. Collective bargaining challenges for fire and rescue were discussed, although that's not relevant here. Some good capital planning information from the city of Saco. Kevin Roach was there talking about the recycling market in China and recycling in general, legislative activity in that regard. So it was well worth my time. And I thank Matt for taking my place for those 3 days. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, any questions? Gordon, do you have anything for Selectmen's report?
No.
Okay. Let's get ready to new business, discuss fiscal year 2020 mill rate with our Town Assessor. So Shirley is with us here this evening, and I believe we all have this 3-page document on our in front of us here, and I believe there's 3 options represented here. The only difference would be the amount of unappropriated surplus that we would use, resulting in a specific amount of overlay, but for all practical purposes, the tax rate would remain identical to what it is today, so there would be no tax increase. And I think you told me that we had about 16 million in new.
A little under that, 15.7, I think, in new taxable valuation. No surprise it was well over 10, but
Yeah.
I feel pleasantly surprised it was that large. So what Shirley did, since we had the 800,000 or up to 800,000 in the estimate in the warrant to use, I suggested, and she agreed, that we keep the tax rate the same and vary the amount of fund balance that we use. So that's what these 3 sheets do. The first one uses 600,000, the middle one uses 550, and the last one uses 500. And I think we've been trying to keep somewhere plus or minus $100,000 in overlay. So the first one is 157, which might be a little rich. The middle one is a little over 100 at 107, almost 108. And the last one I think would be a little too small at 57. So Shirley and I agree in her recommendation, and she's ready to set the tax rate. If obviously folks don't vote on that, you can vote to approve the recommendation, I guess, but you don't actually vote to set the tax rate. But she's done her work, and I'm sorry you didn't have this beforehand. You need some more time and you want to philosophically discuss it. I mean, we can do this in 2 weeks, but we're ready to go now.
Any questions or comments, anything of Shirley? We don't have we don't have any idea of what we're going to carry for a total fund balance until the audit report's done, right?
Right.
But it would appear we over-collected and underspent, but we also had 800,000 in last year's of unappropriated surplus in last year's budget, so not quite sure how that's going to impact the fund balance, but And this year, we were at about 100,000 in overlay. And we hit that only because we had a couple of surprises with BE business equipment, Frank.
102.
Pardon?
There's 102,000 in the overlay,
Okay.
2019.
So you mentioned something to me about the business equipment tax.
Yeah, last year, that skewed after, we set the mill rate early last year, wasn't it late July?
It was on the 24th of July.
And after actually setting that and declaring it, there were some very significant Betty personal property exemptions, right?
Right, well, when we set it, I hadn't completed the personal property, and we estimated it the same as it was the year before. And I did add a fair amount of Betty. How and How was one big account that had not had Betty before. So it ended up to be $1 million less taxable than the year before. So we had chosen, I think, the mill rate, the 1539, and it left an overlay of $60,307. But then when I got the actual figure on the personal property, we had $19,085 in the
Okay.
overlay.
So we squeezed by with very little last
We
year.
squeezed by, yeah.
So we do get credit on the state level for the Betty, right?
We do, we get a reimbursement.
Right.
Last year it was $7,801.
So it will be something larger than that this year.
It depends on which option we use.
Okay.
Well, no, it's the same on any, 10,754
Okay.
to reimbursement.
And that's with how built into that,
Yes.
the whole thing.
Yes.
And that was what, well over 200,000?
Yeah, I think it was I think 250 or something like
And
that.
I'm not
250,
sure, and I think that's
260.
probably a message that we need to get out to the, specifically the business community, that they do get credit for investments that they've made and whatnot, but that it has to qualify.
Well, they were happy because they didn't even know it existed. When their declaration came in, I did the Betty
But
application.
I think there's a lot of
sent it.
businesses in town that don't know that it exists, so.
I think so too,
Yeah.
so we need to make them aware.
Okay,
Could somebody refresh my memory on just what Betty is?
business equipment tax exemptions.
Oh, okay.
And so we give the entire exemption, the town does. The state reimburses us 50% of that,
Okay.
And it has to be a qualifying
yes.
business investment, and it's typically equipment or capital equipment.
Yes,
So I'm sure how that's what they have, but there's probably other businesses in town that have invested in capital equipment that don't take advantage of that.
yes.
But then again, they probably don't report personal property tax
Well, I think
either. But
sometimes they're reluctant to report it.
Yeah.
But if they know that it qualifies for the exemption, then, it would make a difference to them
Right.
in reporting.
oh, okay. You just, I think on this form has the answer with down at the bottom with 10,754 coming back, right, from the state.
Yes.
So what's your pleasure, guys? Gary's right. I mean, Shirley sets the tax rate as the assessor, but we certainly can endorse it one way or the other. But
I would endorse it at 1,539,000 and the fund balance be 550.
right, so utilize 550,000 out of the.
550,000,
So that would give us an overlay of 107,709.
somewhere in there.
Yeah. Right.
And that would give us the 100,000
Right.
that we've always looked for.
Any other thoughts? Keep the tax rate the same.
Yes. I second that motion.
So this is just an endorsement of that number. So
This would be your second sheet. if
right.
anybody's
So
looking at it.
second sheet, we would we would utilize $550,000, and the vote of the townspeople on the warrant was up to 800,000. So the 550 is gonna be less than that. And, well, we could do 800,000, but then we're gonna have to reduce the tax rate. And all that does is jerk things back and forth from one year to the next, so. If there's no other discussion, I'll take the endorsement vote to utilize $550,000 out of unappropriated surplus, which would give us an estimated overlay of 107,709.79. All those in favor? Opposed?
5-0.
So
Thank you. Thank you, Shirley, for all your work.
set
thank you.
the rate,
We'll get it done.
and we'll get the tax bills out,
That's right. Thank you.
which everybody's looking forward to.
Yeah.
All right, that's the first item under new business. Second item, discuss a vote to accept the resignation of Sam Hayden from the planning board. Sam, I think everybody knows his job takes him out of town for extended periods of time, and I think he's reached a point where I think he realizes it's probably best that he resign, but so.
With regrets, we hope that he can come back when his job situation
Exactly.
changes.
What is your pleasure?
I make that as a motion with regret.
Okay,
I will second that.
been moved and seconded to accept Sam's resignation from the planning board with regrets. All those in favor? Opposed? Which leads me to the next thing. We'll discuss and vote to appoint a member to the planning board for the term to expire in June 30th, 2023, which is really to replace Sam. And we have one candidate. We actually had two the other night. We appointed one, which left us with one, which is Ed Zellman. So what is your preference there? What is your
I
pleasure?
move that we appoint Zalmanoff as the new planning board member.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. So,
Is that 5? I didn't see.
planning board stays,
Thank you.
numbers stay pat. And for some reason, my computer's on freeze, so I'll go back to it. All right, so A, B, and C is done. Discussion of board, selectmen's liaison boards and committees. Anybody want to do something different than they've been doing? I guess that's probably the easiest way to ask this question.
The only thing I'd mention is we can scratch the 10 town from that.
Right.
And, you know, if in an emergency, we can always get together again. But
Right. So unless somebody wants to do something different, we'll keep all the assignments the way they are.
good to me.
Is that good with everybody? I think we need to take a vote if everybody agrees to that, so.
This is probably the appropriate place to mention, I'd like to commend the committee for Old Home Days on the excellent job that they did all year long. They are truly a dedicated group of individuals that get things done. They work well together, and their end product certainly showed how much effort that they put into that. It was well done.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Discuss setting public hearing date concerning the amendments to the highway ordinance. Highway ordinance, and I believe everybody has it.
Was that not in the packet, Dennis? You indicated.
No, it was in the packet. What wasn't in the packet was the tax rate thing.
It wasn't done.
Yeah.
Wasn't done, that's why it wasn't. The
But-
glitch
but
with
the-
Dale last week.
But the amendment was in there. In the
Okay,
packet.
well, what I gave you, this one sheet business that you have in front of you, the only change to the existing highway ordinance is the red text that I drafted and Natalie polished off. And it was extremely simple. We just tried to put who's paying and whose responsibility it is. We've got, Public Works Director's oversight in that. And unless you folks have something else that you want to change, Natalie and I are done with this for the moment anyway, unless you have other directions.
So we just need to have a public hearing.
Right. 2 weeks from tonight would be fine.
If everybody is okay with the language, and the language has been scrubbed by the town attorney, so. Which really just adds paragraph 3 under C. And it's what, all of three, 4 sentences. In driveway or other activity which a permit is bought or sought after August, whatever date we approve it. The total cost would be borne by the homeowner / developer, and they would also have the ability to utilize their own contractor to do that under the direction of the Public Works Director. All other aspects of the ordinance remain the same.
That's right.
Is everybody okay with 2 weeks from tonight, we're in the public hearing?
Yep.
Okay. So we'll set that in motion. Item F, update on new code enforcement office hours and a new Monday town hall hours.
Well, before Tammy resigned, we had this idea of how to change things, and I guess we're going to postpone it for now because she's leaving and the new person will be on board here. What we were thinking of doing is increasing a little bit the amount of time they have without the public in the building. That's so valuable to them. This was really the one only major negative of going to 5 days a week. They lost, they'd come to work at 7 and we'd open at 9. They had 2 hours every day to review plans and get their day, inspections and all that stuff. It's valuable time for them, and they're extremely busy. And we need all the time we can get from Jim Allaire from Alfred, who works here every Friday. So what we were going to do was have Glenn work Monday through Thursday, 7 to 4, and Friday, 7 to 12. And the administrative assistant was going to be 8 to 4, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, on Tuesday, 10 to 7. So the Tuesday hours running late would be the same. The only other major change to the public would be closing that office at 4. So I want to emphasize, we're not suggesting that we do that now. Let's get this new person on board and see what their personal schedule is, availability and all that sort of thing, and what their experience level is. Georgia works here Tuesdays and Fridays. We can have her in there helping out. I can help out. Sherry can help out. For the little bit of time in September, or hopefully no time in September, before we have someone in Tammy's slot. Glenn's pretty stressed about this, and rightly so, because Tammy does a ton of work to keep him going and to keep all the paperwork flowing, all the building permits in line and inspections in line. So stay tuned. We wanted to tell you about this. I had talked with Dennis about it. He agrees with the rationale, that being to give them at least an hour at the start of the day, so they would have at least an hour in the morning without the public in here to collaborate, if you will. So we're not going to do this at this time.
Okay?
Any questions or concerns about closing at 4 when the rest of the building is open till 5?
Whatever works.
That's the slower, I don't want to give up the early morning inspections. The contractors and the homeowners that are building, they really appreciate that. And Glenn does a lot of 7 a.m. and 7:30 inspections. And he's an early person, and I think we ought to take advantage of that and kick him out of here earlier in the afternoon. Sometimes it's hard to do. Sometimes I have to use sharp instruments to get him to leave the building.
No, it works for me.
Okay, stay tuned.
All right, item G.
Is this redundant with item E, Dennis? Or is this?
No.
No, okay.
Item E, item G was something that Dwayne called and said, hey, we have an issue. We get the Public Works Department opening up roads and cutting new culverts in and whatnot, and then they they don't cover them back up other than with gravel, and after about a week, that becomes a huge problem, because needless to say, people are driving 20 miles faster than they should on the back roads, but the fact of the matter is that when they get right to the crossing, you know, there's a bump sign up, so it gives them about 20 seconds of warning that there's going to be a drop off in the pavement. So I guess, seeing as how David is here, maybe he could share with us the plan for resurfacing the road openings that his guys are making. And maybe we should just make sure that you have plenty of space on your cell phone to take all the messages.
Oh, I'm getting as many as you are. Most of them, right now there are two cuts that we haven't paved up because there are no paving outfits available right now. And that's the biggest issue as far as paving them. We do go out there every day and smooth it up. You said the number one thing is people just don't slow down. And
That ain't gonna change.
we put better signs up and they got stolen the first night, so we haven't put any different signs up where the same people are driving over them every day, and when we're out there fixing them first thing in the morning, we haven't had one person stop and complain, but I know there have been a lot of complaints.
So why can't we patch?
We can put $110 a ton coal patch in and take it back out and we get ready to put hot top in it. The contractors that we have are just too busy to do the patch.
How many men have you got on your public works crew?
We have 2 full-time guys and a part-time person.
Those 2 openings that you have right today, if you can't lay that pavement, send somebody down first thing in the morning and get a load of pavement and pave that back in within 2 hours, something's wrong, David. You've got your own paving crew. All you need is a rake and 2 shovels.
I agree.
And a wheelbarrow.
I agree with that.
It
Dwayne,
doesn't
and
matter
I
if
will.
it's just a little rough. You're gonna pay, that Weber Road is something that's gonna be paved anyway, correct?
Yes.
So we don't care how real rough it is, but do we care if somebody's lost a wheel right off a car or
Well-
stove it up? I mean, I understand they're driving way too fast,
Yep.
but I don't need a phone call at midnight because David Benton has not repaved the road in 2 weeks. And these little bump signs that we're putting up, they're only 50 to 100 feet away, and if you're doing even 35 miles an hour, you ain't got time enough to stop. And at dark, you cannot see those signs. They're not reflective, and you can't see them.
Well, I agree. And it is something that we'll address tomorrow. But I also would like to let you know that I'm getting calls from people on what the state has done on Route 5 as well. I mean, they've got more joints than, and they're going 50 miles an hour. But I don't want to argue about that part, Dwayne.
Well, no, but I come across those, and by the time you see the sign, and I had 4 or 5 wagons of hay and trucks full of hay, by the time you see the sign, you can't see in that hollow over there on the Weber Road, you don't see the pavement gone, and it's only 2.5, 3 feet wide. It isn't gonna take any time to go get a couple ton of hot top and lay it in there. I mean, we're talking $100, and if somebody's lost the wheel off a car, or stove the rims up, or somebody gets hurt, what is $500 worth of hot top and labor to get that taken care of so that somebody doesn't get hurt?
do it.
Okay. Message received.
Yep.
Why don't we follow up with this by notifying the deputies that we're having a speed problem in that area and see what they can do about some radar enforcement or something.
He was up there, was on Deering Ridge Road the other morning.
Yep.
Maybe if we have a two-pronged attack on this from the Department of Public Works and their law enforcement, that maybe.
Are there any of those bump signs that are reflective? Because I think that's really the issue, is at night.
Yeah, get some.
We had $50 signs, we had 4 of them up, and we've lost all 4 of them.
Well, somebody must have a bump in their living room or bedroom or something.
Well,
they want to put it on their wall.
it's just, they steal them in cones and everything else that we use for marking these areas.
Maybe it's some contractor that
But
doesn't want to buy his own cones. I don't.
Some of these towns, and I don't know exactly what went on in the last 6 months, but I know Hiram, and I think Alfred has bought one, but I think it was through the state, but I can't find out much detail on it. They're saying slow, or it's recording your speed.
Like the one downtown Alfred there on.
Yes,
Yeah.
that one, and I think it was some type of either a state or a federal grant
Yeah.
to get these.
And we put in for that.
We put in for it, and we weren't.
Okay, but
we weren't
these machines are actually slowing the traffic down.
Well, I talked to Gary the other day, because you're now seeing certain towns on certain roads, they're actually putting a post up, right? And it's a permanent thing, and they've got the lit sign that measures. They're $2,500, $3,000 a piece. My first thought was, when I saw one of those, is we need 2 of those on Old Alfred Road.
Yeah.
Right, one on each in each direction, that tells people, and you could probably put them close to Friendship Park, one going, but for $3,000-4,000, you can take care of that problem.
I think it's well spent. I don't know what the cost is. They put one up by the fairgrounds in South Hiram, and it's unbelievable. You're behind a line of traffic, and everybody's hitting their brakes.
Yeah.
The same thing over to Steep Falls Village, or over there to
Those are the ones that are permanently mounted, solar panel powered.
solar panel, but you'd be amazed when you're following traffic. Everybody touches the brakes, even if they're not going too fast.
The other thing that, especially at night or dusk, the new signs the stop signs that have got the LED lights around, and those are all public. Solar powered, but those flash all night.
Can I explain something to you on those? I was told by a sheriff that he stopped someone for going through a stop sign that had those lights that were not working, the batteries stopped, and he took that person to court, and that person beat it because the lights weren't flashing. So,
Or a stop sign.
yeah, at the stop sign. Yep.
Well,
And it's the same with the speeding tickets. They tell me that the judges, unless you're doing more than 9 miles an hour over the speed limit, they're throwing the cases out. So the sheriff's department is not stopping anybody unless they're going.
It shouldn't be a problem on Weber Road and Deering Ridge Road.
No, I think they could get them for pretty
And
close to 15.
I know that. I've seen Dwayne up there. I haven't seen Kevin, but
He's up there, maybe not as much.
He's usually up there. And I usually see him because he's got somebody stopped. So it's not like he's up there just sitting in the car. So.
No, I'm not saying the sheriffs are not doing it. They're doing it, but their cases are getting thrown out of court on it.
There's a lot of issues with courts and everything
There's
else.
still a certain advantage to giving them the summons because they got to show up in court, so it inconveniences them and, might cost them some time at work. And maybe they'll think, maybe they get it dismissed, but they might think about, slowing down so they don't have to go through the aggravation.
So let's get the, if we gotta plug some holes and whatnot, I don't know how many other culverts you cut across.
Those two right now. We do have pavement cut up on the Bagley Road. We're taking out the big rocks that are sticking up through the hot top up there. We're gonna fix that up, and we're gonna cut up by Chapman's Ridge Road. We're gonna put some catch basins in at the end of Weber Road and catch the water that comes around the corner from the dam area and dump that into the side over there. So those will be cut, and we'll spend the money on hot top and fixing them.
Where's the other one other than Weber?
Deering Ridge,
Dean's Ridge.
crossing the new development subdivision.
I just don't wanna see somebody get hurt, and I mean,
Nope, I
to
don't
leave them
either.
open a couple of weeks, I mean, even that one time, you
I
can get
will-
hot top enough on it,
In defense of ourselves, the one on Deering's Ridge Road, before we cut it and put the new culvert in, it was just as much of a bump right there.
Yeah,
That is a
From the culvert was,
yeah, but it was a bump the other way,
Yeah.
It
Do
was
we
a
have-
bump that would launch you, now it's a divot.
Do we have any of those tack down speed bumps, the reflective ones, that we can just nail to the road?
you mean on the
Yep.
horizontal
We
surface?
take them up before winter, yeah. I don't think we bought any of those. I don't know.
That's right along the lines of a speed bump,
We
isn't it?
talked about it, I knew that.
Yeah.
I'd love to put
It was
speed
a-
bumps up, but I know that everybody shudders when I talk about them. But
Those will get stolen probably even faster.
Yeah,
by
they
the
wouldn't-
way, speaking
they
of
wouldn't
things
last
on the
that night.
horizontal, the striper is gonna be coming that does the intersection out here
Thank you.
and the boat launch and all the stop lines. And Poria striping is gonna come earlier this year. And they're gonna put a different type of paint down, see if we can get it to last more than a year.
The better quality one.
Yeah.
Is he gonna do a double yellow out here at the intersection? As you come up to-
Around the corner?
Yeah, as
it-
you
it
come up from
was-
Jimmy's.
I think it was a double yellow,
Yes.
yeah.
And we had two-way traffic
And-
stenciled in the road.
Oh, I know.
Is that coming back?
I've had people pull up beside me.
Yes. I did that on my way to the interview for this job 6 years ago. So.
The other thing that you see, there's a lot of dialogue out on the different social media. We have chosen only to put the center line in and not put the sidelines in. Of course, now Lyman is doing the sidelines, and I think Buxton is. I'm not sure whether Hollis is or not. So people is, well, why don't we do that? Well, because it's 3 times the cost, right? It's
We
linear.
did start doing that last year, Dennis. We
So-
put some.
Yeah, in some of the roads, I think it would make some sense to do that, but,
And I think eventually the state is gonna require that you have those little squares when you're going around a very sharp curve, trying to indicate to people that they're in the middle of a curve, and we may have to, I haven't heard from it yet, but I think that might be something that they're gonna require also. Have you heard anything on that, Dwayne?
I haven't.
No.
I
You've
don't-
seen what I'm talking.
Yeah, I don't get too involved with any
Yeah.
of that, because I'm on the bridge crew, so.
all right, thanks for the,
I think we ought to get the roads, ought to be a priority, because I know it's still summer, but it's getting close to when school's gonna open up again. We're gonna have buses, and I hate to see, one of them hit one of those culvert areas or something.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so just a thought to keep in the back of your head.
The other thought, Dave,
3 weeks from today,
If you
the
had-
buses are rolling.
maybe 4 of them signs, pavement end, and put them up on a 8-foot post.
Yeah.
When you dig safe, just dig safe your 100 feet, 150, 200 feet back, and put them on a post up high enough so they
Put up a
can't
sign that
just...
says 50-foot drop, 150 feet ahead.
Yeah.
Well, no, but I mean, the signs on the post seem to last longer than something that you can stop and grab.
it's harder for them to pull a post out of the
It's-
ground.
Other than street signs, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but,
I just have to order another 10 on top of the 14 I
Yeah.
have coming.
Yeah.
because they just appeal to somebody. And they're expensive.
Yeah.
These signs are
Yeah,
very
You
expensive.
go to these flea markets and there's signs everywhere.
Maybe we should sell them in the front lobby. Blueberry Road sign, we could sell a dozen of them a year.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to old business. Discuss vote to approve the minutes of July 23rd regular meeting.
So moved.
Moved, do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed?
5-0.
Pending decisions, week's action list.
So we need to advertise the public hearing for
Public hearing, yeah.
8/27.
Anything about the public hearing for ATV stuff or no?
Yeah, what we need to do, didn't we set that? The public hearing for
I
the
thought it was going to
18th?
be both meetings in August.
We have to have the question
Right,
done for the next meeting.
right.
Yeah.
So then we would have the public,
The public hearing could be after
Right.
that, because that's a ballot question.
right, so it has to
Could
be.
do one earlier, too.
Right, so we have to have what we're gonna put, the question has to be done by the 27th, right? So that'll be on next week's. Just what the question's gonna look like.
Have we heard back on SAD 57 at all, as far as the meeting?
Negative.
I have not, no. Haven't had any feedback on the letter at all. They haven't started to make phone calls either.
Anything specific that you wanna add to the next agenda? Not, give me a call if something comes up. We'll add it there.
So far, it's a short meeting, so.
I had quite a, it don't concern the meeting, but four-wheelers up on Deer Ridge the other day. Parking right in the hayfield, so I couldn't get in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Needless to say, he couldn't get out when I got done. I had equipment enough for around his
Oh,
pickup.
were the wheelers or the
It was
vehicles?
a vehicle,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Did you see that they ripped the gate off the CMP line?
No,
They ripped right off on Bennett Hill Road.
Yeah, it's been that way for a couple of years now.
Well, we put it back up once, and
but
now they ripped it right off
the
again.
guy had no idea where he even was. You guys in the town of Hollis are a bunch of,
Yeah.
and I had quite a bunch of language.
He thought he was in Hollis?
Yeah.
Well, they're from away, most of them.
Where have you been riding? To the trails?
Yeah.
Well, which trail have you been on? And he'd been down there at Ridge and gone
Yeah,
across
they
the-
go down, because Hollis now is, I think they're running Deerwander Road.
Yeah,
And running.
he
to-
wouldn't tell me where he'd been, but needless
Well,
to
I
say.
think Hollis group
We
is
waited
now
about a
running,
half an hour before I moved my trucks.
they run in Deerwander Road, so everybody's headed that way and they can get up to the
Yeah.
Armory and all that on 117 if they go that way.
So was he in a vehicle with a license plate on it? Or
He was in a
side by-
pickup and a trailer, and then had a side-by-side that was unregistered. And I believe that the sheriff's department, when I got done, picked him up over on the Hollis Plains with an unregistered vehicle.
Well,
Tell him to complain to Hollis Town
his,
Hall.
his opinion of you, it probably,
It wasn't good.
It's not
It
good,
wasn't
though.
good, no. If he ever caught me out in the public, I was gonna be a dead man.
Yeah, but you're a Hollis selectman.
All right,
Yeah.
anything else?
The
If
funny
not-
part was I had 3 trucks over there, so I brought them all right, closed him in, so he had to come find me to get out.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Hey, all those in favor? Good night.
Yeah.